beating them at their own game to neutralize the narcissist colleague. You must rob them of what they crave most, attention and power over you. Spotting and handling the narcissistic boss. As dreadful as the narcissistic peer is, having a narcissistic boss is a whole nauseous level above in psychological torment and abuse. Narcissistic leadership often typifies the expression, ultimate power corrupts ultimately. This unsufferable creature lords over their professional fiefdom with unchecked egomania and exploitation. Their archetype, narcissist executives, combat treats the office as their personal dominion and employees as subjects, judging everyone's value and obedience only by how it benefits them. Rules, ethics, and organizational values mean nothing. They are the center of their own deranged universe, where they make up the rules as they go. They thrive on creating a culture of fear where staffers walk on eggshells, terrified of displeasing the irrational, vindictive ruler. They hand out cruel personal attacks, demeaning remarks about people's looks or jobs, and sobering reminders like, I can fire you and make your life miserable on a whim. They openly play favorites, giving special treatment and opportunities only to sycophants, while freezing out any suspected disloyalty, undermining and embracing subordinates for their own amusement is their sick kick. They will take glee in shooting down ideas in humiliating ways, belittling staffers by assigning demeaning, corny tasks and fabricating mistakes to reprimand people, all to enforce their power drive. Moreover, they chronically take credit for others' initiatives and insight while failing to grant any praise. This is a twisted game of withholding appreciation while bestowing belittling criticism to remind all who's really in charge and deserving of the glory. Like all narcissists, they are consummate liars and truth deniers. They propagate ludicrous alternative facts to massage their ego and memory hold any statements or policies that no longer suits their distorted narrative. Challenging their warped reality means putting yourself in the direct firing line of their unbridled hostility and retaliatory abuse. And don't expect HR to reign in this monster. Narcissist bosses are masters at charming and manipulating those above them, while subjecting underlinings to complete subjugation. The mere thought of escaping the toxic vortex will have many disassociating from the trauma and hushed whispers of how does someone like that keeps getting promoted. Surviving the bully boss. The sad reality is narcissistic leaders often can't be reasoned with or changed. Their fragile egos and skewed reality tunnels make them extremely resistant to criticism or accountability. The best recourse is to master graymancing, the subtle art of becoming inoffensively bland and unmemorable in the narcissist radar. In their childish, self-obsessed minds, you don't exist as a person unless you are serving their desires or posing a threat to their superiority complex. Practice intense emotional detachment when engaging the narcissist boss. Respond with flat, robotic politeness to any outbursts or provocations. Avoid fueling their dramatics with strong reactions they can construe as insubordination. Graymances massively tune out the narcissist, innovating while carrying on with the work. Document every instruction, meeting, note. nasty email, an incident for your records. A meticulous paper trail will be invaluable if you ever need to legitimately defend yourself against these lunatics, lies, and sabotage attempts. Loop in others appropriately to have witnesses and corroborate events. Finally, have an exit strategy. These toxic despots rarely change or get ousted. At some point, protecting your dignity and sanity will mean fleeing with their dysfunctional dominion before it chews you up completely. Start networking and jobs searching confidentially. Using secure personal channels your boss can't monitor. Compile that documentation to support going over their head if necessary. Ultimately, starving the narcissist of the power to provoke emotional reactions or control your reality saps them of their strength. They feed on drama and getting vengefully satisfying punishments from your anguish. Deny them that oxygen, and they will eventually grow bored, tormenting someone unflappable. Narcissistic workplace like dysfunctional families. Why do so many office environments become narcissistic nightmares? It stems from the same sickness infecting many toxic family units, the narcissistic hierarchy. Entire companies become arenas while narcissists compete for power, supply, and significance in distorted dynamics mirroring abusive households. At the top, you have the snarling, volatile matriarch, the CEO's executive narcissist, parents doling out conditional love, threats, and arbitrary punishments. Just like with kids, underlinings, walking on eggshells, shape their realities to whatever soothes and caters to the irrational darks, moods, and egos. Below the malignant leaders, you have the horde of narcissistic enablers, deputies, and flying monkeys, the dysfunctional siblings, aunts, uncles, who perpetuate the family toxic culture. These spiteful minions curry favor with the bosses by targeting disloyal black sheep, scapegoats, and parroting the party line. Kissing the rings of the narcissistic figureheads greases the wheels for their own perpetuation. At the very bottom of this oppressive family totem pole, you have the abused rank and file staffers, the good kids surviving off whatever few morsels of conditional approvals they can scrape from their narc power structure. The enablers mock them as worried, overdramatic, and oversensitive when they react with justifiable outrage over the mistreatment. Locked in this poison cycle, the loyal employee desperately tell themselves, "This is just the way things work around here," while suppressing any dignity or individuality that might threaten the uneven status quo. Such environments breed trauma, paranoia, zero accountability, and a hardened lookout for yourself. Culture where integrity takes a backseat, escaping the toxic dynasty. Like any cycle of narcissistic abuse, the only solution may be going no contact and cutting ties completely with the toxic work dynasty before it erodes your spirit entirely. Just be prepared for the usual smear campaigns and vicious retaliation when you poke the narcissistic beast. The rage from being held accountable and abandoning their ego fuel supply brings out the narcissist's most destructive and desperate lashing out. This makes compiling evidences, formulating exit strategies, and lining up a new job crucial protective measures when you have decided to hide all out of there. Getting space establishes firm boundaries necessary to gently disengage from the entangled abuse patterns. Plus, it reopens your mind to the wider world of health and normalcy away from the warped, alternate reality these dysfunction addicts propagated. There's a life after narcissistic abuse. Stake years before becoming another permanently crushed by its vortex. The anxiety they cause is dangerous. Workplace narcissists cause untold psychological damage through their mind games and toxic behaviors, navigating the gauntlet of landmines like narcissistic injury, manipulation, devaluation, and abuse breeds chronic anxiety that never fully escapes you. You become hyper vigilant, constantly fearing doing or saying the wrong things that might tempt vindictive rages or out of the blue devaluations. The exhaustion of people pleasing and self censorship to pacify their fragile ego leads to stress attacks, sleepless nights, and impacting your physical health. Suppressing your authentic self to carefully craft weak personas, they'll accept steady chips away at your identity and self-worth. Was the narcissist constant gaslighting and projection, where you are painted as unstable, unhinged. One start making you question your own reality and sanity. Deep down, their tactical denigrations plant insidious seeds of doubt that blossom into full-blown self-loathing, anxiety disorders, depression, and trauma. Why it never ends? Unfortunately, narcissistic behavior is rewarded and even incentivized in many professional settings, making it extremely difficult to curb or root out over the long term. In the corporate world, especially, the grating traits of narcissists, arrogance, superficial charm, deceitful lack of empathy, are often mistaken for the signs of strong leadership and business savvy. These preening egomaniacs excel at wooing bosses with grandiose visions and ludicrous embellishments of their competence in pitch meetings. Sadly, these perpetual narcissists keeps ascending company ranks on their undeserved reputation as innovators and rainmaker. In this deranged corporate culture, the truly talented team players who challenge the narcissistic power get systematically sidelined, undermined, and pushed out as threats. The narcissists don't merely survive, they thrive and reproduce even more toxic replicas of themselves as lieutenants. Narcissists also benefit from environments that overemphasize individual achievement over collective contributions and emotional intelligence. Ethic code means jack to these remorseless opportunists, fixated on dominance and one-man upship at any psychological cost to their helpless prey.